Welcome to the part third of digestion and absorption. So in our previous video, we wind up our session to understand about esophageal sphincter. I hope so. You have remembered the last video, the part 2 of this. We have wind up our session on esophageal sphincter. So it is a sphincter which is present in the posterior region of esophagus. There is a ring of muscles called esophageal sphincter. It is going to control the opening of esophagus into stomach. So let me pass on to the next part, that is about the stomach only. And the moment there is a question which can arise in your theory, like what do you mean by peristalsis, or define peristalsis. So what you are supposed to write: the movement of the food material in the esophagus is affected by the wave-like contraction and relaxation of longitudinal and circular muscles of esophagus is known as peristalsis. So as you all know that the alimentary canal starts from the mouth and ends with the anus. So the food has entered into the mouth. Now in the mouth, different kinds of the teeth are there. They chew the food, and now the bolus form of the food has entered into the esophagus through the pharynx, and now from the esophagus it has to enter into the stomach. So the movement of this bolus form of the food is in the esophagus is going to carry out by the contraction and relaxation of longitudinal and circular muscles. The muscles which are present in our esophagus are in longitudinally arranged and they are circularly arranged muscles. Due to the contraction and relaxation of these muscles, they create a wave-like contraction and relaxation through which the bolus form of the food will enter into the stomach. So this movement, the movement of the food from the esophagus, is done by these muscles that we call it as peristalsis. So I'll repeat the answer. What is peristalsis? The movement of the food material in esophagus is affected by wave-like contraction and relaxation of longitudinal and circular muscles of esophagus is known as peristalsis. To have a look on the picture, I have shown you the food which was there on the pharynx. Now it has reached to the esophageal sphincter and it is about to enter into the stomach, and the movement, the muscles is being shown, circular muscles which are contracting, and the previous mouthful of the food swallowed and circular muscles relax, and it is going to open the sphincter, esophageal sphincter, and thus it enters into the stomach. So now come to the stomach. As the food enters, the next part of our alimentary canal is stomach. It is a large muscular J-shaped sac. It's a sac-like structure lying just below the diaphragm in the abdominal cavity. So the stomach is located in the upper left portion of abdominal cavity. We can say that it is a J-shaped sac-like structure located in the upper left portion of the abdominal cavity. Has three major parts. So it has got three major parts, my dear students. So the first part we call it as, the first part is cardiac portion, into which a esophagus opens, a fundic region and a pyloric region which opens into the first part of small intestine. So our stomach is a storage organ which stores the food. The stomach is a J-shaped structure and it is located in the upper left portion of the abdominal cavity. So it has got three parts, that is cardiac, pyloric and fundic. So the cardiac portion is going to open, the cardiac portion is going to open into the esophageal opening, and the fundic region and pyloric portion which opens into the first part of small intestine. So the pyloric sphincter is located at the junction of pyloric stomach. So where is the pyloric? At the end. You can have a look. The three regions of the stomach is being shown in the picture. So the pyloric region, end of the pyloric, you are going to have one more sphincter, second sphincter of your alimentary canal. First we saw esophageal or gastroesophageal sphincter. Now the second sphincter we call it as pyloric sphincter, which is located at the junction of pyloric stomach, where the pyloric stomach ends, and duodenum. So gastric rugae are longitudinal folds. They are being present over there. Let me tell you about that. First, before going to tell you about the gastric rugae, let me try to understand about pyloric sphincter, which is shown very clearly in the picture. The opening of the stomach into the duodenum is guarded by a sphincter. We call it as pyloric sphincter. So the opening of the stomach into the duodenum. Duodenum is the first part of small intestine, which we are going to study in the preceding session. So the next part is your small intestine. The next part of our alimentary canal, which we are going to study, will be our small intestine. So small intestine again is being divided into three parts. So the first part of our small intestine is duodenum. So our stomach is going to open into the duodenum, and it is being guarded by a sphincter. We call it as pyloric sphincter. So what is the function of the pyloric sphincter? It controls the flow of the food into the intestine. So how much food is required to your body? No doubt the food is being stored in the stomach, so it may be in a huge quantity, it may be a small quantity, and it has to go for the digestion, and complete digestion is going to occur in the small intestine itself. So the flow of the food has to come from the stomach to intestine. So this pyloric sphincter is going to control the flow of the food into the intestine. It is the sphincter which is going to relieve, or which is going to work as what I can say, a door between stomach and small intestine, or the first part of small intestine, which is going to leave the food from stomach to small intestine. So now comes to the next part, that is small intestine, the most important part of your alimentary canal, where your complete digestion is going to occur. So small intestine, it is a long, highly coiled, narrow tube. It's about 7 meters long and 2.5 centimeters in diameter. So our small intestine is a very long structure. It is a very long, and it is about 7 meters in long and 2.5 centimeters in diameter. So if you see your small intestine, it's very long, and it is distinguishable into three regions. Small intestine is divided or distinguished into three regions. That is U-shaped duodenum, a long coiled middle portion called jejunum, and a highly coiled ileum. So our small intestine is very long. It's about 7 meters in long. It is divided into three regions: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. The duodenum is U-shaped, and your middle portion jejunum is long and coiled, and the last one, ileum, is highly coiled. The opening of the stomach into the duodenum is guarded by, as I said, pyloric sphincter. So the ileum opens into a large intestine. Fine. So the last part is your, look at the duodenum. First part of small intestine is U-shaped. U-shaped, which one I said? The U-shaped duodenum. Next comes a long coiled middle portion called jejunum, and a highly coiled ileum. This is going to increase the area of absorption. It receives common opening of the bile and pancreatic duct. So duodenum is going to receive the juices from the bile as well as the secretion from the pancreatic juice. So liver is going to secrete a bile and pancreas are going to secrete a bile juice. Both the juices are going to enter. It is going to receive or going to enter through a common duct or a common opening into the duodenum. So I'll wind up my explanation of this part here only. I'll continue the next part of this in the next session. Thank you.